So all 5 living presidents attended President Carter's funeral in D.C. yesterday, along with several first ladies and vice presidents. I couldn't take my eyes off of the body language. Like this. Look at that. It looks like Trump is asking Obama which country the Panama Canal is in. So
Obama should have said Florida. He might be leaving.
What do you think was happening there yesterday? I mean, I didn't hear any, what do you call it? I wish I was a fly on Mike Pence's head because I would have liked to have really seen what was going on, but I didn't have any sound. I was just watching them.
No one can. I think that's the hard part about interpreting tone, because the storylines that are going on today are hilarious, but probably a lot of guessing. The funny ones, though, I'll give credit to. You got to see this clip of President Bush and President Obama belly tap. So these guys, they have the best relationship, and it goes to show, here are 2 men from different parties. This is an era that I hope returns, which is these are 2 men who represent different ideas in DC, stood for different things, and yet they share the same values in life. They both put their families first. They love their children. They love, and I've had the precious honor of meeting President Bush because I'm friends with Jenna Bush. And to see that man, he is everything when you say you want to not take away presidencies. This is a man you want to have a beer with. Sorry, he doesn't drink. Sorry. This is a man you definitely want to have a non-alcoholic beverage with. And he is so fun, cool, approachable, and that's what I love about those 2.
Well, and what I also loved is we take for granted, we live in a polarized, divided moment. There's a lot of things to take seriously and to be concerned about, but a lot of countries on earth could not bring all their former leaders together in one place. If you really just put it into the historic perspective, and to see people trying to show their best class and put their best foot forward, I loved it. I also love that it's probably more dramatic if we knew it was being said than like a Real Housewives reunion. But I'm here for it in the body language interpretations. But I had to watch the clip of Mike Pence because I was thinking of the fact he's not seen Donald Trump in 4 years. They haven't been in the same room.
Oh yeah, let's look at that.
And what I would say is Pence was all class in the same way that Joe Biden welcomed Donald Trump to the White House and he shook his hand. Mike Pence stood up and shook the hand of a man he once served with. Karen Pence's wife did not stand up. She did not shake the hand. Mike Pence's wife.
He followed
Karen.
The wives were more upset than the man, I think.
Well, and I'd like to point out the shady part of what was going on, right? I saw that the vice president was sort of befuddled by all the talking between Obama and Donald Trump. Like, she's like, what is this? So I kind of enjoyed that little tidbit. I also enjoyed the tidbit of Melania Trump. I mean, she just sat there and she was just standing straight ahead. She looks the way she looked at the first inauguration when she had the blue dress on and she kind of like smiled at him and then went like this. She looked like that throughout the whole thing. So I am very curious about what Donald Trump could have possibly said to make President Obama smile. I don't know if it was that was dumb smile, or if it was something that was he was truly engaged by it. So you see that smile? See that smile? So I'm reading shady stuff into it, but I was...
somebody give Barack Obama a Best Actor Oscar right now. Look, the guy is classy, and he's going to, and they're at a funeral, right? But what I thought was really interesting, though, was on the other side, you know who was sitting there? Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister, of Canada, that Trump has been taunting, attacking, saying that Canada is going to become the 51st state. And yesterday, the president of Panama, President Mulino, put out a tweet giving America his sincere condolences on behalf of the country of Panama over the death of Jimmy Carter. And so it reminds you that what Donald Trump has been doing consistently since, he got elected, is taunting and creating international incidents with our friends, with our allies, the people who have been with us through thick and thin. Right now, as we sit here, there are Canadian water bomber planes in California helping put out the fires. So thank you, Canada, for that. And he just, he won't stop with that stupidity. He's been, he's been attacking Carter also consistently over the Panama Canal Treaty, which brought peace between
And he was
Panama
blaming Newsom, Governor
and
Newsom,
the
for the
US.
fires also. I'm
Yeah.
not blaming him, but saying he's incompetent.
There will be time
and
for
calling
politics.
him names.
There will be time for politics and to hold people accountable over those fires and to investigate where the failures were, but maybe not while they are
Well,
fighting
he's
the
totally
fires.
inappropriate all
Wait,
the time.
pivoting for a minute back to the funeral, because I'm still sitting with so much of the reverence of watching that coverage. I did have a fleeting vision when they were bringing the casket down with the military calling for each step. And I had this like jarred moment of what that looked like on January 6th when you look at like what was going on in DC at the time and watching the amazing history and tradition of this country's ability to overcome in a lot of ways. So I don't remember sitting and watching someone's funeral like that, even when the last president who passed would have been President Bush. Right?
Well, we
Bush
attended
Sr.?
John McCain's funeral, and that was remember that, Joy?
Yeah.
And that was
Trump didn't.
a very he did not.
He
And
wasn't
that was
invited.
He wasn't invited. That was a very somber.
I think the daughter
moment.
was there, though. Ivanka, wasn't she there with
Ivanka,
with Jared?
Ivanka was there. Allegedly not invited, but
Yeah.
But it's a reminder, we
apparently
honor our
was.
presidents regardless of their political stripes, and we try to honor the best parts of their legacy, because no former president is without fault, but there were some very beautiful and touching tributes to Jimmy
Oh, the
Carter.
eulogies
including
and-
Walter Mondale actually penned one before he passed that his son read, which I thought was beautiful.
It was nice to see all the presidents together. Like you said, I always said I didn't want to know Bush personally because I totally disagreed with his decision to invade Iraq, and I knew I would like him. I just knew.
The belly
He's a
tap is
really
so
good
good.
man. He
That
really
happened
is.
to you with Mitt Romney. You ended up
happened?
liking him.
I
You
did.
like Chris Christie,
You were dancing
too.
with him at Anna's wedding, I
With
think.
who?
With
Mitt
Mitt
Romney.
Romney.
I don't remember that.
Oh my
We'll be
God.
right back.